This next one's called Dirty Mittens. A reminder to all you children, do not eat laundry detergent.
Mewgenics is a game I've been keeping up with the development of for years, and with every new reveal or teaser it looks better and better and makes me more excited for its release next year on February 10th. If you're unfamiliar with Mewgenics or roguelikes in general, let me tell you why you should be excited too. Edmund McMillan is the creator of Mewgenics. He is known for creating one of the best roguelites of all time, The Binding of Isaac, as well as Super Meat Boy, a great, if infuriating, platformer.
Some sick motherfucker that made this fucking game, okay, dude?
Even if this cat-based roguelike wasn't made by the creators of one of my favorite games, it still combines two of my favorite things, cats and roguelikes. Isaac has always been a favorite game of mine, due to all the wacky combinations and synergies. It really started my interest in roguelikes/roguelites. Here's my tier list. If you're interested, it's purely based on enjoyment, not necessarily quality. But why is Mewgenics my most anticipated game at the moment? Well, it appears to take from a lot of my favorite parts of Isaac and crank them up to 11, while incorporating systems from D&D, XCOM, Fire Emblem, and Magic the Gathering, which Edmund says is a major inspiration to the game. Describing his development philosophy in a recent podcast episode of Rogue Signal, the Rogue.site podcast, he states this.
The foundational design that I was really playing in, because I always say, like, when people say, what is this game most similar to, I'll be like, oh, it's XCOM or whatever else. But really, at its core, this is Magic the Gathering. Like, this is very much Magic. And I could never explain that in a way that made sense to anyone. Everyone's like, oh, okay, I kind of see it. Maybe there's some mechanics that are similar or whatever. But it was an interview that I did that somebody said you should check out this interview with Richard Garfield where he explains what he was trying to do when he built Magic the Gathering. And it was to build this, like, not so much a sandbox, but more like a playground with a bunch of structures on it that people could play in how they wanted to play in it. So if you have different personality types, you have different approaches.
While I've seen plenty of promises from devs about play it your way style mechanics, usually stealth or loud, hacking or barging in, I believe that Mewgenics can deliver on this front, given the systems they've shown off so far. Of course, when the runs are largely self-contained, this is a much more achievable feat, but the combination of carefully considered environmental effects, turn-based combat, the cat breeding elements, a D&D inspired class system with over 1,000 skills, over 700 items, unique disorders, mutations, branching areas, unique bosses, house and furniture customization, and random events, this makes me believe the claim of player freedom and endless fun builds. A note on the art style. If you're a bit hesitant due to the art style, or haven't seen much of Isaac, or maybe you don't like some of the gross out elements, I would still recommend to give these games a chance. At least in the case of Isaac, the gameplay is worth it. We of course don't know with Mewgenics yet, but I would be betting on it. Eventually, you might even find these elements endearing, rather than off-putting as you buy into the game's tone. An additional advantage of this relatively simple art style is it also lends itself to the roguelike genre very well, allowing for a focus on gameplay elements and making those aforementioned hundreds of skills and items. For the record, I enjoy the art style, but I understand it's not overly appealing at first glance. The gameplay loop consists of runs starting at your main house and taking you down diverging paths through multiple zones, all of which having hard mode built in, which is optional but also gives you greater rewards. You will control your 4 cats in a turn-based battle similar to games like XCOM or Fire Emblem. Each time it is your cat's turn, you will be able to move, basic attack, and use abilities in any combination up to your mana limit, with your max mana being determined by charisma and your mana regen per turn being determined by intelligence. Here's a quick primer on the stats from Edmund.
Let me go through the stats real quick for you. We'll use Sniff as an example here. Sniff is a very average cat. You can kind of tell here the 6 is a little bit green, the 4s are a little bit red, that becomes more pronounced as you go above and below 5, which is the average. So anything above 5 is above average and anything below is below, but these are all pretty consistent. We've almost got 5s across the board, which is fine. So strength affects your melee damage. Dexterity affects your range damage. Constitution affects your HP and health regeneration between battles. The intelligence number is literally the amount of mana that you gain when you end your turn. Your speed affects your movement, how many tiles you can move. It also affects initiative. Charisma is how much mana you start with and also affects your max mana. And luck is your luck. Anything with chance, this would affect it. So he has slightly below average luck. So he's a not so lucky cat.
Already I love this concept, breaking from many games' single action per turn rule set. If you take low mana cost abilities with a high mana pool, you can spam them again and again. You could also have a limited mana pool with high strength or dexterity, so your ability use might be limited to utility, but your free basic attack might be more valuable. In the same vein, your basic attack can interact with the environment, so mages with low attack but high mana pools could use their attack for utility while using their spells for combat. And then of course, you could have a high mana pool, low regen, or maybe even high mana, high regen mages that can store up mana for potentially combat-ending spells. Moving past that though, let's look at the cat breeding mechanics, and the reason for the name Mewgenics. Each run of the game will see you using a group of 4 cats, which you select from the ones at your house. After each run, your group will be retired, but it can be used to breed other cats. This isn't the only source of cats though, of course. You'll find new strays each day that you can take in. Using these, you can use the randomly generated cats and the children of your retired cats to breed whoever you want with any combination of traits. Of course, there's RNG involved, but there's a whole litany of outcomes. And the RNG is really where the fun comes in, just like the runs. You can have cats that have ADHD, mutant fish limbs, additional heads, or even a cat with a Rich Evans voice.
Oh my god!
You can also have inbred cats, and there's an in-game family tree for each cat so you can see just how inbred they are. There's another possibility with this breeding system as well, and it plays into one of my favorite mechanics in gaming, cross-class skills. You see, when you breed a cat, they can inherit skills from their parents, but those skills can be specific to a class, and yet you determine the class with class callers. So you could get a fighter skill and combine it with a mage, and then you could be more tanky, or you could get melee abilities that you normally wouldn't be able to have, movement abilities that you wouldn't normally be able to have on a mage. And I think that plays into something that roguelikes deliver on the most. It's being able to have runs that feel like you cannot be stopped, and nail biters where you're not sure if you'll make it out of every single fight. It gives a breadth to the gameplay through massively variable difficulty that you don't find in many other games. If you're good enough, you can win every run, but while you're still learning the game, you have a chance to make it to the end every time, if you just find that one combo you've been chasing. Speaking of combos, we've already gotten a few previews of the kind of shenanigans you can get up to. You can get a fighter ability that allows you to explode enemies on death and then combine it with a mage. You could have a cat with autism that has an easier time casting spells that they were born with at the cost of learning new ones. But you could use that to, for example, if they was born with a wind gust, you could combine that with another cat that could create a damaging terrain, and then you can infinitely blow them into the terrain. Or, as I'll show in a clip in a moment, you could even create a one-shot combo off of an armor interaction, spamming projectiles at your own units to double your damage. Overall, there's a lot to love about what's already been shown, and I can't wait to see more. And let me know if you'd like to see more content on Mewgenics.